Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another Dragon Ball figure news video. Of course, our bi-weekly figure news where we go over everything that happened in the last 2 weeks in the world of Dragon Ball figures. If you guys did not see my 2 videos that I put out within the last 2 weeks about the Demoniacal Fit Super Saiyan 3 Goku and the brand new SHF Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, definitely go check those out for my thoughts on those, because obviously we'll talk about them in this video, but we'll go into more detail on those topics in those videos. So definitely go make sure to check that out. I know it seems like we have a lot on the chopping block today, but I promise you we really don't. This is a lot of quick rapid fire things for a bunch of different figures that we have to cover. But we have some really cool stuff to talk about today, so let's go ahead and hop into it. Starting us off here, we had the Bam Presto September 2024 pre-orders go up. Obviously, this was for the boys that we covered in last week's video, or I guess 2 weeks ago's video, right? The Trunks, the Broly, and the Gogeta, as well as the Android 17. Obviously, we talked about these guys during that video, but very, very cool. A very good bunch of prize figures. I'm actually pretty excited for these. I think I may actually end up grabbing Android 17, because this figure is just, like, so good, man. He looks so cool. But yeah, we talked about them there, but you can now pre-order these guys. Obviously wherever you usually pre-order figures, and of course at the Big Bad Toy Store as per usual. But that being said, the only other things that we have on this page is this was quite interesting. So I don't know if you've maybe seen anybody talking about this if you are familiar with the Dragon Ball figure space, but the Dragon Ball Evolve figures for June of 2024 went up for pre-order. This were really interesting to see, because as you can see here, right, the 3 figures for this batch are actually a base form Goku, a base form Vegeta, and a Super Saiyan 3 Goku, right? Which is really, really interesting. If you are unfamiliar with these Dragon Ball Evolve figures, basically these are Dragon Ball mini figures. Well, maybe not like mini is the best way to describe them, because they're like 5 inches, but they're smaller than like a normal SH Figuarts figure. And obviously they're a little bit lower quality, which I'm sure you can tell by the images here. But the idea of these is to be a little bit more like low-end action figures. And they do have a Super Saiyan 3 Goku, right? Which I think that the hair sculpt on him is actually really, really interesting. Let me show you some more HD images of these guys. Obviously, the art on these boxes, right, always looks really cool, because they always have some awesome art on these Dragon Ball Evolve boxes. But I think the really interesting thing that I wanted to talk about when it came to this guy is the hair sculpt of Super Saiyan 3. This is a really interesting one, because sometimes with the Super Saiyan 3 hair sculpts, they make it like very big and flowy. Sometimes they kind of make it a little bit more condensed, and in certain instances they almost make it a little bit more like short and spiky, I guess is just the easiest way to describe it. And that is certainly what has happened in this instance. Holy cow, my man got a humongous haircut, because the Super Saiyan 3 hair is definitely not long enough, I feel like. But it is a very interesting way to do it, I suppose. Obviously with this, you know, like kind of sculpt, I guess, it's probably a little bit less likely for it to get broken if you're obviously to give it to a kid, because of course the whole point of this is it's supposed to be like, you know, something that you can use as an action figure to play with rather than like a display piece. But I still think it is interesting nonetheless. Let me know what you think about the hair sculpt though. And yeah, I do agree with this comment here. Yeah, I think the problem with this Vegeta is his legs are just way too long, right? He kind of looks like taller than he should be, and he definitely looks like he might actually end up being taller than Goku. Goku looks way too short here in comparison to Vegeta, to be honest with you. So I honestly think that it might just be the fact that his legs are sculpted this way, where they look way, way, way too long. Regardless, though, that is the Dragon Ball Evolve figures, so if you are interested in grabbing those, definitely go ahead and pre-order those. I'm sure, though, you probably won't have to, because they do show up in retailers, like, all the time. I see these things in Target, like, literally every time I go to a Target. Okay, moving on from that, we did have the Dragon Ball Arise Cell. So this is a bit of an interesting one, because obviously these Dragon Ball Arise figures, right, we have seen these come and go. but I swear this is the first time I've seen them do a character like Cell. I could just be misremembering, to be honest, but it is really, really interesting because this actually looks really good. I'm not going to lie. This is definitely a solid figure. Obviously, this is, I believe, when Imperfect Cell's looking over one of the cities that he's going to go drink all the people, right, inside. A pretty cool looking figure, and funny enough, Imperfect Cell is actually my favorite form of Cell. I know, a little bit of a hot take, ooh. But, I don't know, I really like the monstrous look of it. I think how ugly he is really fits with Cell's aesthetic, what he's trying to go for. Now, I will say, the unfortunate thing about this figure, despite the fact that it looks really, really good, right? It's kind of interesting, too, because sometimes the Arise figures almost kind of have a very little weird look to them, right? But I feel like this one just looks super solid. Cell's face sculpt as well. Fantastic. But, yeah, that price is not good. That is 31,000 yen, aka will probably be around like 300 bucks USD. It's so weird because these figures aren't even any bigger than like Ichiban Kuji figures or anything like that. It's just that, I don't know, it's because of the branding that they market these as more of like a hype beast type of thing that they end up getting this sort of ridiculous price. I don't know, man. It's really, really weird. I wish that they wouldn't have them be so overpriced because a lot of these figures I would definitely get. If they were more priced like an Ichiban Kuji, I would definitely pick up some of these. But that is, as it stands, excuse me, definitely not. Moving on from Arise Cell, though, and obviously this guy's coming out in August 2024, by the way, and no pre-orders for him have gone up yet. We didn't have anything for figures here for this Dragon Ball Weekly news. However, if we go to the next page, I know for a fact that we had a little bit of something in one of the upcoming ones. So first of all, let's talk about, yeah, I guess we can talk about Vegeta here. We'll talk about him a little bit later, I suppose. Actually, yeah, I guess we'll talk about the SH Figuarts stuff here since it is right here. But yeah, the Gashapon Window Collection Art Series 02, right? This was announced, and I think we saw this, but it was really blurry before, if I do remember, right? Obviously, this is something that is going to come in these little Gashapon capsules, so it's cool to see the different art that they chose for these. This will be a nice little thing to just kind of like throw on your desk. Hydrate or dihydrate, by the way, as per usual. But yeah, pretty cool choices for the art. I definitely like these a lot. I think there's certain ones of these that I would want to get. Maybe I could find them on eBay or something and then try and, you know, grab the one that I'm looking for that way. Alright, so Vegeta, right, was obviously the next thing that we got. So this was a really interesting SHF drop, right? We had the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta figure, which is really, really interesting, right? We obviously, again, took a look at this guy in a video that I did earlier this week, but this guy is going to be releasing in September of this year, and pre-orders will open April 5th. Obviously, for this guy, right, it is really interesting because, of course, we are on the 3.0 body by now, but they are still using the 2.0 body for this Vegeta and just giving him some new head sculpts, which is really, really interesting. He will be an over-the-counter release at the typical $35 price point, so that is definitely a very, very good thing, right? I'm actually pretty excited about that, to be 100% honest with you, because it's nice that we'll finally able to get a Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, right, that's basically not locked behind a premium Bandai or a convention exclusive. So that is pretty cool, right? I know that the faces I really, really like. I think I really, really enjoy these updated head sculpts. Or not I think I do. But I will say, I don't know how I feel about the body being 2.0. Obviously, it's still a solid body, and you'll still be able to get plenty of articulation and a lot of fun out of this figure. But it's just so weird why they wouldn't make a 3.0. Like, we've had the 3.0 body for a couple of years now. It's just so strange that they wouldn't start giving all of these figures the 3.0 articulation. It's so weird how they're kind of like saving it to other figures. I don't know. Very, very weird decision, if I do say so myself. But Vegeta is a very, very exciting release. Definitely looking forward to him, and especially at that $35 price point, right? You can't go wrong if you're just looking for a Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta to have on the shelf, for sure. So the last thing that we had for official SHF, because we'll talk about some third-party stuff at the end of the video, Very, very interesting. Frieza, right, obviously here, just went down recently on Premium Bandai, and it's kind of interesting because they must not have sold that many pre-orders for this guy, because, man, they were pushing this dude hard on Instagram, as you can see here, right, after that Vegeta post. Oh, pre-orders for the SH Figuarts Full Power Frieza close in less than 2 days, right? It's kind of interesting, right? So, obviously, all these figures look really good together, and of course, right, it is nice to see all of the figures side by side like this, right? Obviously, even having, you know, these different poses for Frieza here with a little bit of extra background. This kind of looks like they, you know, they took him, like, in the back, and they were like, all right, we need to get a couple of extra poses just to, you know, sell this guy a little bit more. I can't imagine that maybe too many people bought him. Obviously, hardcore collectors always will, but because he was locked behind Premium Bandai, I can't imagine that, you know, if he was an over-the-counter release, even for just a little bit of a higher price, he probably would have gotten more sales. So, because usually whenever they do this type of thing where it's like, oh, you have 24 hours left, right? It's like, yeah, they do it so well on the sales. And, bro, this is Full Power Frieza, the guy who fought Goku, right? One of the best Goku figures of, you know, SH Figuarts history, in fact. The Super Saiyan one, obviously. So, yeah, very unfortunate, but I do hope that the figure is good, if anything. I'll probably try and get this guy in the future to see if I could get him for a little bit of a lower price point. But with that being said, the last thing that we had for the Dragon Ball figure news was here from the DBZFigures.com. They did talk about in this Dragon Ball Weekly news that the Dragon Stars figures are now available, right? We talked about these guys in a previous video, and you can definitely pick these guys up. I've actually seen a lot of people doing some good stuff with these guys. I've seen some people take pictures of, and nothing too crazy, but since this is the only articulated baby figure that we've had, I've actually seen a lot of people getting some good usage out of this guy, so definitely cop that guy if you are interested in him. But obviously we talked about them in more detail in a previous video. But yeah, that is it for DBZFigures.com. I do want to, real quick, since we obviously threw it up on the Tamashii Nation's page, right, before we, we'll talk about, again, third-party news towards the end of the video. I figured I may as well just cover this stuff since we're sort of doing SHF now. This is really interesting. So release and re-release items will be in Japanese stores from the 20th to the 26th, right? Very, very interesting, some of the stuff that is getting re-released. And, wow, I actually can't believe that we are already on the Gohan release day here. This has been a figure that was super, super highly anticipated, right? Obviously, everybody has been really, really looking forward to this Gohan with the cloth cape. So, I am definitely very, very excited to see the final product, right, and how he actually turned out. Not to mention, it is cool that Bulma is obviously getting a re-release. Besides that, though, there isn't much for... Ooh, Gurren Lagann. There isn't much else for Dragon Ball here, although it is really interesting to see that they are actually going to be releasing the Gear 5 Luffy on the 26th, which I'm super excited for. But also, they're re-releasing that $35, $36 Luffy that they already dropped. So that is pretty cool. And I know that this is just an image from a Facebook page, but I have seen this information corroborated by a bunch of different sources, so I did want to include this in the video. Apparently, these figures are going to be getting re-releases this year. As you can see, Vegeta Superhero the 8th month, right? Ultimate Gohan the 8th month, Ultra Instinct Goku the 9th month, which we already knew about. The I can never pronounce this, even though I literally own that Dragon Ball Raider. It's supposed to be Proplica, I believe. Obviously, they make, like, you know, basically stuff from anime into real life props, you know, that's the whole bit, right? Will also be September, right? And then the Goku Black over-the-counter release, right, in October, and the Super Saiyan 3 Goku once again, which is crazy that he's getting another release. That figure must just be so insanely popular, or they're just trying to compete with Kong, I don't know. But November will be the release for them. So obviously it's all of their prices that they came out at, except for I think that the Dragon Radar might be a reduced price. I swear it was not like 25 bucks when it came out. Regardless though, yeah, very, very excited for all of this. I might actually pick up another Ultimate Gohan, to be honest with you, because I definitely want to do some posing and stuff with him. But yeah, very cool. So that is all for SHF. Of course, as always, thank you to DBZ Figures for always holding it down. Link in the description. And we are now going to move on to Baggy's Twitter. So, we do have the multi-angles for the prize figures that we obviously took a look at on the Big Bad Toy Store earlier in this video, but also obviously with the corrected colors. Obviously, I'm not going to spend too much time on these, but I did want to include them in the video, obviously, so then that way you're able to see the corrected colors, because obviously, you know, for some reason, whenever they post these production images originally, they like don't put the correct colors. I don't really get it, bro, but it's Bandai. We're used to their shenanigans by now. By the way, buckle in, because we're going to be going pretty quick through these. Obviously, for the factory confirmations for these figures, we are going to be having Broly, Gogeta, and Trunks in China, and Vietnam will be Android 17. Also very interesting, they are charging maximum price allowance for the August Matchmakers Gogeta, so him being 12 centimeters, Baggy was hoping it means he won't scale as small as the Cow King Goku. They didn't charge maximum for that, and scales similar to the BOS Broly. They did charge maximum for that, despite BOS Broly only being 3 centimeters bigger on paper, right? And obviously you can see definitely a little bit bigger than that, right? So will be interesting to see how these guys definitely scale with each other when all is said and done. So we do have the release weeks for when these guys will be coming out. Broly versus Gogeta, and then the BOS Trunks will release early August in Japan, and 17 will be late August. Definitely looking forward to those finals, man. So this was really interesting to see. I'm not sure what event this was at, or if this was just like at a monthly prize fair, but we did have the images for the Ginyu Force pop up. And we now know how this whole little thing is going to work, because obviously we were kind of like a little bit, I don't know, unsure in the last couple of videos how this was all going to work with these figures connecting together on one base. And I gotta be honest, bro, they cooked so hard on this. So obviously, there were some pictures of Gohan and Vegeta, and they don't look too bad, right? But obviously, they are not the focus. I do think Majin Vegeta's sculpt actually does look pretty good, if I'm being 100% honest with you. I really, really like the way that that turned out. But when it comes to the Ginyu Force, holy cow. So this is really interesting, right? First of all, we were indeed right in assuming that it comes with this little Ginyu Force logo stand, right? We were kind of confused, or at least I know I was, when we were looking at the production images, and they were talking about how obviously it would have a stand that was the Ginyu Force logo, and then it would also come with some little thing, right? That's obviously like an additional like logo piece. And I was kind of confused if I was being like mistaken between these things being the same thing. But no, it definitely seems like that comes with, I believe this is with Gul though, because obviously he's the smallest one, and they wanted to have you have a little bit more worth for your buck, basically, right? He comes with the Ginyu Force logo, and then obviously when you collect all the figures, I think it may be Ginyu who comes with the big base, you get this base where you can put all of them on there, and you can actually see too that they all connect with these clear little stands that obviously plug into them. I'm wondering if that is going to be a separate thing, if that's going to be something where that comes with like the big stand, or if that is going to be something that will basically just be like the regular stand for all the figures, that will just be like the peg that they use to plug into their own individual stands, and then it's going to be able to plug into the big stand. But I really, really like how this turned out, and honestly, seeing the sculpt for these figures, wow. These look almost even better than the production images, if I'm being honest with you. I'm really, really impressed. I know I was talking about how I might honestly make this my, like, dedicated Ginyu Force setup, because of the fact that, you know, I've been kind of looking to have one of all the boys on the shelf for a while, and I think they absolutely cooked with this. I think it's really, really cool. So, definitely very pleased with how that turned out. Let me know what you think in the comment section below for sure. Alright, so this was very interesting. Chibi Master Volume 2 and the Item Collection Volume 3 were confirmed for the US. So I have actually never seen this item collection until recently at a place that has Gashapon machines nearby me, which is really, really cool though, because obviously it's just awesome to be able to see that stuff. Unfortunately, they are a little bit overpriced, if I'm being 100% honest with you, excuse me, but it's still cool to see this stuff, right? And not to mention, right, with these, I've actually seen these Chibi figures like at Target before, honestly. So I might actually cop the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I'm a huge Super Saiyan 3 fan. You guys probably know that if you've been watching my videos for a while. But these are some pretty good choices. It's a very interesting mix of characters, I will say, because you have some Future Saga with Vegito and Trunks, and then obviously Blue Kaioken Goku from when he fights Hit, but then also Piccolo is there? I don't know, kind of a little bit of a weird, like, mishmash of characters, right? Unfortunately, though, they did not choose Fenyo art this time around. As you can see, they used the boy, the Stinky promo artist, which is a little unfortunate. But I do really like these little figures, right? For 10 bucks a piece, I don't think that these are too bad, right? This guy said, look at this little fella. Yeah, honestly, I think that these are pretty cool looking, all things considered. Funny enough, Baggy notes that they've apparently been available for a while in the UK. He didn't even know that they're available in his own country, which is pretty funny. But yeah, this person posted the Blue Kaioken Goku and the Super Saiyan 3 Goku in a little bit better quality. Obviously, when it comes to these are little minifigures, and you can kind of see the Bandai quality control coming in with some of the paint apps on the hair. It definitely looks a little bit sloppy. But I don't know. I don't think it's too bad for just a little figure, right? If you just want something small and kind of fun to have on your desk, I think this would definitely serve that purpose, right? It's pretty cool, though. And yeah, Baggy did note in the above tweet, which we'll get to one of these figures later. But yeah, Super Saiyan 3 has been getting a lot of love recently for some reason. So I hope that that means good things for your boy, because I love Super Saiyan 3. Okay, so this was the dates. I don't think that this will translate unless I do this for some reason. Sometimes the Google Translate thing is really weird on Twitter. Regardless, though, yeah, as you can see, April 4th will be the Solid Edgeworks The Departure 17, scheduled to appear on the 11th, the BOS, that will be the MUI Goku. The 23rd will be the History Box Majin Vegeta, and then the Solid Edgeworks The Departure 18. He actually forgot the date for, but that is the 25th. So very, very cool. I'm excited to see when these figures actually come out. We'll finally get to see some in-person pictures. I'm really excited to see them of MUI Goku as well. So I just want to throw this in here because this is pretty cool. Obviously, this is a very big figure, but a figure nonetheless. They had the Dragon Ball Daima Goku on display at this event in Japan, which was pretty cool. And of course, as well, they also had the Gear 5 Luffy, which is cool. This figure looks insane. This would be crazy to own that thing in your home. This was also pretty cool. A huge W for the boy, Kid Buu. Kid Buu of the Solid Edgeworks variety got an increase of orders of 705 game stations. It's 258 more than Frieza, which is crazy. So hopefully that does indeed mean that non-Frieza villain characters will be here to stay. Obviously, we have had tons of great Frieza figures throughout recent time, but Cell and Kid Buu and just all the Buu forms in general, I guess, have definitely been not getting as much love, and they have been giving them a little bit more recently, but obviously with the addition of the more recent figures, they have definitely been cooking a lot more on these guys. So it's really, really nice to see the fact that Kid Buu, my boy's, he's on the come up, bro. My boy's on the grind, honestly. So you love to see it. Apparently in August, we're also going to be getting some plushies of Corrin and Laboon, which is pretty cool. Funny enough, I actually just got to this part in One Piece. I'm reading the manga right now. I'm just finished reading Chopper's backstory, so I actually know who this guy is. But yeah, Corrin, pretty cool, honestly, that we're getting a plushie of him as well with the stick in hand, which is awesome to see as well. Nakazawa also, just wanted to throw this in here, apparently sculpted the Goku and Frieza and the Bulma and Kid Goku that we talked about in the video going over the Dragon History Ichiban Kuji, right? Very, very cool, because obviously he is one of the best sculptors in the game. I have loved his work for many, many years, so it's awesome to see him on projects still. And very, very interesting that apparently, because this is such a small lineup, we will probably get another Kuji in September. So that'll be really interesting to see what that will end up being. So keep your eyes out for that. But yes, the GOAT is back, which I am very, very excited about. You can see I even... We are so back. I already put a tweet about it there. And this was also pretty exciting. I wanted to include this because this isn't anything that's confirmed. But this is good news for the future. When Grandista released, they could only charge game stations 22,400 yen per case. Now they charge up to 40,000. That's almost double, and that's why I said Grandista will return, as there's no excuse for it not to. Yeah, obviously, we've been seeing One Piece has been doing Grandista again recently, so hopefully Dragon Ball does get it, right? That would be awesome if it was in Q4. It would be really, really cool to see if this line actually does continue. I was just caught off guard because I just noticed here that apparently the person who sculpted the Grandisa line originally was actually Varroque, which he went under a different name at the time, but it seems like that's not actually confirmed. So really, really interesting, honestly. But yeah, hopefully the Grandisa line does return. This was also pretty cool. Apparently it looks better IRL, the Super Saiyan 3 BOS Goku. This was apparently because of obviously he was showing off somewhere in Japan and people were making reports about it. I don't think they could technically post pictures of it because obviously it's one of those things where it's like, you know, locked. They can't post pictures of it, but very, very good news. So when we eventually get image of him, that will be cool to see. Or images, rather, excuse me. This was also really interesting. The April finals for the BOS UI Goku production image is the same, but they adjusted the colors a little bit. This is why I always say, bro, you cannot trust Bandai with these colors, bro. Never. They always are changing it up, man. I swear, whenever they show the figures off, originally they are never the final product. And even I swear sometimes the final production images don't even match the final product. So we can never trust these boys with the color. But good, I definitely like it when they're a little bit brighter like this for sure. So, man, we are getting into some good stuff here. So, ladies and gentlemen, the high grade series is back. That's right. If you are unfamiliar, the high grade series was a series of Gashapon figures that was super popular for a really long time in Japan. Funny enough, I have a God Goku high grade figure that I actually got at a local place near me one time. And by golly, the high grade line is coming back strong. We have 4 brand new figures, and I believe actually a 5th that's not in these images. We have Namek, Super Saiyan Goku. We have Super Saiyan 3 Goku, obviously the iconic pose. We have Omen UI Goku. This was from the fight with Kefla, obviously. And, oh no, okay, he is here. The Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, which, funny enough, this same pose is in, oh, what is the name of that Ichiban Kuji? It's not the greatest saying, because that's the GT one. The one with MUI Goku, Omen Goku, Vegito, and Gogeta. It's one of the best Kujis of all time. The name of it is escaping me right now, but the same pose. These are little minifigures that you actually get in Gashapon capsules, and you can build them together. And the high grade quality is really, really good. When they said high grade, they were not kidding, because back in the day, bro, whew, the high grade figures were him, as far as I'm concerned, when it came to Gashapon minifigures. So I'm actually really excited about these. I may actually pick these up. They are really, really cool minifigures. Again, like I said, I already have one on my desk, and I love it, so very, very cool. Apparently, this is what they're actually going to look like for the prototypes. Right now, obviously, the lighting is a little bit weird, so definitely don't, you know, pay too much mind to that. But it is interesting that the hair is a little bit almost like translucent. That is how it has been in the past, so that definitely doesn't surprise me. But man, for minifigures, the sculpt on these looks immaculate, if I do say so myself. The sculpt looks more detailed than some figures that are much bigger than all of these, to be honest. So I'm really, really looking forward to these figures. I think that they turned out really, really good. And the high-grade premium crew, and a better look at the item collection. What's so interesting is that I feel like everything that is on Premium Bandai has been like really stinky in terms of the quality lately, so it's nice to see that these actually look pretty decent. It's kind of funny, I swear the high grade figures that come out of the Gashapons always end up looking better than the premium ones. Premium Bandai, funny shenanigans at work as always, but these guys do look pretty good. And here is the And here is the item collection once again in actual real life rather than just the image from before. Pretty cool little stuff. Obviously, it's a bunch of little trinkets. I definitely like these a lot. I may actually get the Patara earrings because I think that's super sick. But it is cool that these come with the peel-off machine, right? I really, really like that. I wish they were a little bit bigger, though, because obviously these are minifigures, so they look kind of big in comparison, right? The peel-off machines to the gang here, but they are kind of small, so definitely pretty cool, though. Definitely excited to see that these are looking pretty decent. Hopefully the final product also looks pretty good. By the way, this is confirmed to be releasing in July, so hopefully we'll get some really good final images of them then. I'm very excited for this, actually. And apparently this is going to be a 500 yen Gashapon, and there will be 20 pieces per bag. So that basically means 20 of these guys, I believe, will be in like each bag that they buy, right, is what this will be. So you can divide that evenly. So I'm assuming it would be an even number of figures between them. So For me, I don't know. I'll probably buy them individually rather than like playing an actual machine for them. Maybe I will, depending on if places near me who actually like have Gashapon machines in the store, because there are a couple of places I'm very fortunate in that regard, right? Maybe I will play these just to see if I could get it for cheap. But yeah, one thing that is interesting about that though, I think it's here. Yeah, I was going to say, I know we have more to talk about for this in a couple of tweets. So apparently there are going to be around $8 a piece, which is like not terrible, to be 100% honest with you, but it's not like the greatest either, because obviously they are minifigures, so they could definitely be a little bit cheaper, but I don't think that it's awful, right? I've definitely seen Gashapon machines for a little bit more expensive, so we'll have to see, right? Because I know sometimes they end up being charged a little bit differently. Like if this is something that will actually be in a Gashapon machine, I think it would be a little bit cheaper to play the actual gacha. But if it's just the actual figure that they'll have like in its own box for the US, I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work. If you do know, let me know in the comments, because I know that the only time I've ever seen them was actually out of a capsule machine. But maybe the individual figures will just be $8, because it'd be kind of weird to do it for $8 for an actual like Gashapon machine. But I guess we'll see. And apparently the actual description for these is aesthetics hidden in a 10cm figure. The highest quality in the history of the series was born. I don't know why it's so jank, but I think it's just a little bit of a funny translation. Yeah, very, very cool, though, honestly. For how small these are, the detail is immaculate. So I'm actually really, really excited for these figures. I'm not going to lie to you. By the way, this tweet right here, which was the thing that I accidentally pulled up, is that there are 22 participating stores to the April Dragon Ball Kuji. Therefore, there will be, of course, just about 12,000 LO Gokus that will exist in Japan, right? Obviously, that being the winged Goku. Obviously, right, lots have to be finished being drawn before the LO Gokus enter the market, so initial prices will be high. Yeah, so if you want to get your hands on that guy, it's definitely going to be very hard, right? It's going to be very competitive. I'd say definitely wait a little bit, but maybe don't wait too long to try and get your hands on him, right? Because obviously you're not going to be wanting to pay the initial prices, but as he gets more scarce, you're also not going to want to be paying those prices either. So maybe try and kind of find a good middle ground there. This is something I wanted to include in here just because I thought it was really interesting, to be honest with you. And for all of you European viewers, you can see that apparently some distributors have gotten excess stock of the old European event exclusive Super Master Stars P Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the black and white version. I didn't even know that this was a European exclusive, to be honest with you, but that is pretty cool. I do have the manga color version of this figure, and I actually really, really like this guy. So definitely, if you see him, I would highly recommend picking him up. I could probably think that he would be pretty cheap, because usually the black and white ones, the versions of the figures, end up not going for as much from what I typically see for the aftermarket. So I don't know, definitely look around and see if you can find this guy. But this was also pretty interesting too. The initial Bampresto order numbers, right, as you can see for all of these different figures. Obviously, for Dragon Ball, we had 500 for UI, 540 exactly. Vegeta was 434, Ginyu 417, and Jace 334. UI did double more than last time, so hopefully that's enough to continue Bandai's DBS figures, right? Because obviously the DBS brand has been kind of going down for a little bit. So hopefully this guy does well, because there's still a bunch of stuff from DBS that we do need for some good figures. But yeah, by the way, just wanted to obviously include this because you know I always love to include the tweets from the boy Varroke Barkwell. Still don't know how to pronounce his name. And of course Joe, right? They were the ones who corroborated or collaborated on these figures here, right? For obviously the Ginyu Force, right? The prototype for the Ginyu, I believe, right? As you can see, was the prototype production was Joe, right? And then the production cooperation was Varroke, right? As you can see, if you collect them, obviously, then you can do the special fighting pose, right? It's obviously talking about that he did both of those figures. And I believe he also did, you know, Jace as well for obviously sculpting the set. But yeah, he was talking about here that obviously I was able to assist in the production of the prototype, albeit in a small way. Each person is in charge of coloring, right? Talking about the different people who were in charge of the different aspects of the figure. So pretty cool. It's always nice to see Joe and Varroke, you know, talking about their work on figures, because it's always pretty cool to be able to see, like, you know, essentially the behind the scenes a little bit type of thing, right, when it comes to these Dragon Ball figures, because I feel like it's something that you usually don't get to see when it comes to figure stuff, you know, obviously like who makes the figures and like that kind of logistical stuff. So very, very cool, honestly. You always love to see it. By the way, this was just the last thing, I think, before we move on from the high grade, right? Confirmed for France, release date, price, and release method currently TBA. So if you do live in France, definitely look out for these guys if you are interested in picking them up. By the way, Ginyu did release, so we actually do have some pictures of him. I will say his mouth does look a little bit funky, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But I think overall, excuse me, oh my gosh, the entire sculpt of the figure definitely doesn't look too bad, in my opinion. I actually really, really like how this guy turned out once again. It also could just be the lighting, and obviously, when it comes to these figures. Sorry, I don't know why I'm burping up my dinner right now. Obviously, sometimes you can just get a figure that's a little bit like in terms of the quality control. So, regardless, though, here is Goku, right? Obviously, this guy giving us some pictures here. Very, very cool. I don't know why the lighting is so harsh on this guy, but yeah, man. This sculpt turned out really, really nice. Your boy might have to cop this guy, honestly, because he looks so good. By the way, I'm not going to read all these out, but I did want to include these in this video. Here is the Dragon Ball Kuji packaging sizes. You can pause the video if you want to take a look at that. Was this an accurate translation? No, Google, because there's not even a translation there, you goofy goober. I have to use my plugin to get it for you on the screen. So silly, Google. Unfortunately, all the Japanese sites and sellers that used to pre-sell Gashapon stopped selling Bandai ones years ago, so effectively means those looking to import the high grade will be whatever the market value will be on the open market, right? We did have one more tweet about high grade. I'm sorry, I forgot it was kind of out of order. Regardless, yeah, definitely a little bit of unfortunate news, but I guess we'll have to see when it comes down to it how these guys end up. By the way, we did have a little promo video for Ginyu, which is pretty cool. I don't want to completely show this to you because obviously this is like an easy copyright claim waiting to happen, assuming that this video is copyrighted. But I believe this is from the Bandai official YouTube channel or the Banpresto official YouTube channel. And yeah, man, I'm very excited for this set, to be honest with you. It's very, very cool. I'm definitely liking the way that these all cook up. And we actually do have a little bit more info here. As you can see, right, Guldo is featured with the Ginyu Force logo figure. So also comes with a pedestal that can be used. Okay, so it is Guldo who actually comes with the pedestal and the little Ginyu Force logo, right? It's obviously not an actual figure where it says logo figure, but that's just what they call it, I guess, to make it a little bit more easier to understand. Anyway, here is just a couple more pictures of these guys, obviously looking pretty good. And pretty cool, honestly, that the individual Ginyu Force members are coming with clear bases, because obviously we are really used to the kind of yucky black bases, so it's nice to see. Obviously Goku has a foot base, but it's really nice to see that he is getting a clear base, right? Hopefully they do this for all of the upcoming prize figures, because I think it just makes them look a little bit more high quality than the black bases, right? It just makes them look a little bit nicer, and they're just nicer to look at on the shelf with that big eyesore, you know, there, obviously with just the big spot on the ground, right? The clear stand kind of remedies that, so pretty cool. By the way, very, very interesting. BOS UI has been updated to 629, which means it's 392 more than the Zenkai Solid Goku, right? Obviously being this guy, which was the final nail in the coffin for that line, right? The Zenkai Solid line. Love Nakazawa, but not like the Zenkai modeling at all. Definitely like the BOS one better, yeah, for sure. Very, very interesting that, you know, this guy was funny enough, like the nail in the coffin, and then MUI came back swinging with another figure later. By the way, again, here's the HD pictures of this. The one that we did not see when we saw the IRL pictures of this was actually the yellow Potara. So it is really interesting to see that obviously that is going to be included in this set. This was also something else interesting. The Jump calendar has the GX Materia, Vegito, and Buu added for Dragon Ball, which is really, really interesting because obviously these guys already came out before. Assuming a re-release, given how strong these two characters have performed, a re-release definitely makes sense. Yeah, people really, really like this GX Materia Vegito. I have been seeing Tons of people talk about this guy. He's one of those figures that kind of extends outside of the, you know, like figure collecting space, basically. Hopefully a special color or something instead of just a straight release. Yeah, definitely would be pretty cool, but obviously definitely wouldn't mind just re-releasing anyway, because if it's a special color, then your boy's definitely going to have to cop. Regardless, though, the official description for the BOS Super Saiyan 3 Goku talks about how the muscles are smooth and natural and how metallic hair enhances the figure to new heights. Really interesting, because I've been thinking lately that a lot of these figures that Bandai's been pumping out have had kind of like a little bit less almost like crevices or detail like that. So it is interesting that they're kind of trying to use that as a marketing point. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it is kind of interesting. By the way, this was something I definitely wanted to put in here, and also as kind of like a sort of PSA type of thing to see if anybody, you know, will basically see these out in the wild in the US. The Dragon Ball Still Waiting for You Gashapon confirmed for the US, but locations below, but obviously it's just the normal Gashapon places that they have them. Not sure when they'll drop or if they have already, so if you do see these in a local store near you, definitely tag me on Twitter and tag Baggy, because definitely would like to know when these guys come out, because I would actually like to get these. I think it'd be pretty cool. But anyway, look at the July Ichiban Kuji Dragon Ball smaller prizes and confirmation of the ratios, right? So, by the way, we already saw these, obviously, but it is cool to see that we are going to be getting, I think that must be clear file with the Bulma, like, army art, which is cool. I think this is Yamcha versus Shen is what that art is there. And then obviously we have Kid Goku with the dragon. I'm not exactly sure what that is down there, so it'll be interesting to see what these smaller prizes are when we get a better look at them. And thank you, Baggy, obviously, for always holding it down with the figure news. I do believe that that is everything for official. Yeah. So let's go ahead now and move on to the third-party news. Obviously, you guys know that I have been including this in the videos recently. It seems like you guys have enjoyed my coverage of third-party figures, whether it be unboxings or in these news videos. So I'm definitely going to keep doing it. So thank you guys for your support on that, and let me know if you would like to see more. But we had a bunch of interesting third-party stuff, right? Obviously, you can't cover it all because there's so much happening, with third party from so many different companies that, like, you don't even know who the company is yet because they're just coming out of, like, everywhere, it seems like. But this was a very interesting announcement from 5K Toys, right? Obviously, we talked about in a previous video that the Broly, right, is obviously going to be coming out soon, the Fenrir. And this guy is not that, right? As you can see here, this is the God of Destruction Narashimha, I think is how you pronounce that. Please excuse me if I absolutely butchered that. You can definitely tell me in the comments how that is pronounced. But what is really interesting about this is that, as you can see, the Beast Deities 021 through 024 will be releasing soon. Now, what's really interesting about this is that obviously it's like, oh, is this a new figure? You know, who could it be? Thankfully, this commenter right here has us on lockdown with some very detailed information upon what this is. PSA, so everyone is on the same page and not getting things mixed up. This is in regards to their Super Saiyan 3 reissues. Remember that their Broly goes by the Beast Deity named Fenrir, so do keep that in mind to avoid any confusion. Yes, they said that Broly pre-orders would go up this month, but the post is not for that. These have been up for pre-order on the website for some months. This is just informing us of them actually being physically reissued soon. I literally can't speak. I'm so sorry. But the Otaku Kid, Soyorius, I think is how you pronounce that. Man, you can't keep giving me these hard words to pronounce, man. I'm struggling here. Thank you for the clarification. Because funny enough, I was actually going to mention in this video that ironically enough, the reissues have been up for a while on 5K, and funny enough, I can't actually show them to you on 5K because they have finally sold out on the 5K Toys website, so I couldn't even show you these if I really wanted to on the website, because even when I go to my orders page, right, and I click on the link to the actual item through my orders page, it basically just goes nowhere. It goes to a 404 because the item sold out. So, thankfully, in a previous video that I did, I believe this week, right, or last week, I obviously showed this off on the video, right? Of obviously the Super Saiyan 3 Vegito, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and the Super Saiyan Blue 3 Vegito and Goku, right? Now, it is really interesting, right? Because as you can see, these are indeed, right? As you can see, 21, 22, 23, and 24, just like how they mention here. However, what is really interesting about these is that they changed the whole, like, box art thing. Because obviously, right, if we look here, I know it's kind of hard to see, but this was not, I believe anyway, the same, like, quote-unquote, like, deity that they were using to sort of cover up the fact that it was Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I'm assuming what probably happened, again, this is just making an educated guess, is that they were doing these re-releases because obviously they announced that they were going to do a re-release of these since they were so popular, and probably towards the end of the production, they decided to change it, or maybe midway through, right, tried to then kind of change it up to more of the Beast Deities moniker, because obviously those guys came out, right, the original Super Saiyan 3 releases when they were still Kong Studios. So that's my guess, trying to kind of, you know, keep in line a little bit more with the, you know, like Beast Deity stuff that they're trying to do, because obviously they're trying to avoid the ever-looming, you know, like hammer of copyright. So makes sense, right? I don't know then if the box will still be the original Super Saiyan 3 box or if it'll look like this. I'm assuming this is the packaging right here, because this literally looks like a scan of if you open the box flat. So doesn't bother me at all that they're obviously changing the packaging of these, because, you know, I mean, like, it literally had Super Saiyan 3 Goku on it before. So I don't think that that's a surprise by any means, and it kind of makes sense to obviously avoid all of these shenanigans going on. Now, the other thing that I did want to show about these guys is something very interesting that I found from a couple people posting about this on Instagram. So supposedly there is more to these reissues than just, I know we covered in a previous video, the fact that they are actually going to be like redoing the neck pegs for these to make the Super Saiyan 3 hair basically a little bit more usable, or like just basically because of the fact that the hair is so heavy, right? Obviously it's harder for the figure to kind of hold some poses, so they made the neck a little bit stronger. Interestingly enough though, it appears that they actually updated the face sculpts for Super Saiyan 3 Goku as well. As you can see, we have a comparison here from the old sculpt of the smirking face and the new one, which is really, really interesting. It's kind of a strange thing, because with Kong, I don't think they've ever done something like this before, at least to my knowledge, right? This is a full look at all of the updated face sculpts, right? Very, very interesting how these ended up looking. It's really peculiar, to be honest, because I kind of liked the original Super Saiyan 3 face sculpts for this guy, right? I know that they're not perfect, right? But I think as I saw more and more pictures of them over time, they kind of grew on me as time went on when it came to, like, basically how they looked. I kind of liked the, like, structure of the face and the style, right? So it is kind of interesting, because I was honestly kind of looking forward to getting those faces. So I know it's a little bit silly for me to say that, all things considered, because obviously, you know, they, you know, quite literally only made the faces better, right, judging by these images here, because obviously, you know, these definitely, at least to me, look a lot more anime accurate, if I do say so myself. It definitely kind of looks like they went a lot more for a anime-esque aesthetic, right? They kind of, I don't know how to really describe it, like they basically sharpened the edges or something, right? It's hard to describe the actual, like, differences between it, but it definitely looks more like the anime in the new version. I feel like they almost like made the forehead a little smaller, they made the eyes a little bit more like squinted or like thin or something, and made the proportions on the face a little bit better, I think. So it's really interesting to see. And I don't know, it's such a weird thing, because it's like, on one hand, this is just a W for me, because obviously I didn't get the original round of Super Saiyan 3 figures, and I definitely really, really would have liked to if I could have, but obviously, you know, I didn't know about Kong at the time. And the interesting thing now is that obviously for people who got those figures, right now, they're kind of almost like up a creek. Basically, like, not really, because it's like, I don't know, it's a little bit of a weird kind of like wishy-washy type of thing, because on one hand, it's like, well, obviously they still have a functioning figure that looks good, but obviously with the face sculpts even being redone, and obviously the joints on this guy being better than the original release, I'm sure some people who got those original figures will kind of feel a little bit like, I don't know, gypped a little bit, because obviously they could have waited and then got these figures, which are going to be seemingly superior. So only time will tell. I'm sure some people will end up just getting all of them, having the original release and the re-release, but obviously we'll have to see when that comes. By the way, I did want to include, of course, again, I made a more detailed, in-depth video about it when the news dropped earlier this week, but it does indeed seem that Demoniacal Fit is also going to be dropping their own Super Saiyan 3 Goku, which is very, very exciting with their version of the 3.0 body. So it'll be really interesting to see how this figure compares to the Kong figures, especially the reissues, because obviously I'm assuming that all of the, you know, quality control issues that were present with the first round will probably be fixed, right? It's really interesting too, because this piece with the dragon, when this was originally shown off, I was kind of thinking, oh, well, like, surely it doesn't actually come with the dragon, right? Nope. If we look here, it seems that they are actually working on this dragon piece, right, as a additional part for Goku, which is really, really cool, honestly. I actually really, really like, too, the fact that they have this little, like, swing of like the effect of energy here. And it's interesting too, because you can also see, if you look at the image over here, right, on this one, there is a little bit of a hole on that orange base on the left side on the bottom there, right? And if you look here, it does actually show a peg and a stand for Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So that is really, really cool. I am going to be very curious how this is packaged, actually, and how much this is going to cost, because obviously this figure will probably be a banger, considering how much people really, really loved the base form, right, Goku, that they obviously came out with recently. People really, really love this figure, and obviously it's basically just using the same body, but then putting the Super Saiyan 3 hair on it. So hopefully they obviously make the neck able to hold the hair up, or just make the hair lighter. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to go about that, but regardless, it'll be interesting to see how much this actually costs, because of the fact that obviously it's going to come with the dragon, and how that will even be able to like fit in the box, unless it's multiple pieces or something, because obviously the SHF boxes are usually not that big. So only time will tell. It'll also be interesting to see when this guy actually releases, right, because we have no idea on that yet. And I know a lot of people have obviously been wondering, again, where is Future Gohan? I talk about that more again in this video, because obviously, you know, it's been kind of a weird situation with Demoniacal Fit and that Future Gohan lately. The last thing that I did want to cover is about the boy Tonson. Holy cow, the GOAT has been cooking. So obviously recently Tonson's, I guess you would call this like effect. I don't even know what the technical word for this would be, but like additional pack, you know, the Boo pack. I don't know what you would technically call like what this actually is for the figure, but essentially what this is this is an additional kit for the Super Boo figure, right, where it comes with this awesome Boo Tank's head sculpt and the jacket, so that you can actually turn your Super Boo figure into a Boo Tank's, right? Obviously you could even get the long you know, tentacle head without the vest on him, but very, very cool. Tonson has definitely been you know, dropping some bangers in terms of the stuff that he's been working on. He's been posting a lot of cool pictures of this. It is really interesting to see. He has been kind of like low-key teasing, let me see if I can find where the picture is out of all these. He's been kind of low-key teasing a Buhan kit as well, with all these pictures that he's been posting of like these different characters getting absorbed. It could definitely be, yeah, this one especially, right? It could definitely just be us looking a little bit too far into it, that he's just posting a bunch of cool pictures basically using the kit that he made. But I don't know, it is interesting to see that, you know, obviously Buhan, right, is you know, a potential thing on the table from Tonson. But the really cool thing is that obviously we've been seeing some more pictures of Kid Buu, right? Obviously the Tonson Art Toys Kid Buu that was supposed to be coming out pretty soon. But what's interesting is that Tonson actually made a post talking about the fact that basically, these guys are going to actually be coming out in June, right, rather than April. And honestly, I think this is a huge W, if I'm being 100% with you, because the thing about it is that obviously stuff like this takes time, right? And to really perfect the figure, to get it to do what Tonson wants it to do, especially considering the fact that he really seems to take care of his craft, right? The fact that he's delaying it just to make more changes to make it better, honestly, is a huge W in my book. So I'm really glad, right? I even talked about here, right? Where's my comment? Is my comment not going to appear here? Yeah, right here. Keep cooking, man. Right, exactly. This is the type of thing, the same thing with game development, bro. Whenever you have a video game that seemingly, like, takes longer to, you know, develop, that's usually, keyword, only a good thing. Because obviously then that means they're taking more time to polish the game. So, and that is obviously what Tonson is doing here. You can see by obviously making the holes a little bit better, right? Working on the articulation, it seems like. I mean, even this, obviously, this isn't painted, right? It's just the plastic. You can also see that Trunks that he's been working on, which we'll talk about in a minute, in the background. It looks like Trunks' feet are flipped around, which is kind of weird. But yeah, as you can see here, right? Obviously, Kid Buu is looking good so far in terms of the sculpt. And obviously, he's working on the articulation for the feet. So that is really, really cool to see that he is straight cooking on that. So we'll have to wait a little bit more for Kid Buu. But obviously, we got this little teaser of Trunks, and I think I talked about it was one of the videos that I did recently, the Tonson Art Toys Trunks, right, that obviously the man has been cooking with, and I believe I did not actually show some of this in the video, so I'm just going to cover it in here. This is the next figure that Tonson is working on after Kid Buu releases. This is a banger, if I do say so myself. Look at this thing, dude. Holy moly. This is obviously the black shirt Trunks. Tons of cool accessories that are going to be coming with this guy. Obviously, you have a sword that looks like it can actually come out of the hilt. You have that slashing piece, right? You have the jacket where it'll be like he's basically taking it like halfway off on the figure. Bunch of different hands. It looks like there's also some additional shoulder pieces that would then be sleeves, right? So if you do want sleeves rather than the sleeveless look, you can get that. Super Saiyan head, right? Base form hair. Looks cool, right? It's also really interesting to see that, as you can see here, right, this is going to be a version, because obviously that is what is on the image. But it's interesting to see here, if you look here as well, there's also going to be, I'm not sure if this, like, purple hair is the other version. I guess that would probably make sense, right? If that was then the B version. And obviously you can see some very cool expressions here, right? It's really, really awesome to see. The man is absolutely cooking with these. These look so fantastic, so anime-like as well. Is it the same expressions that are here? No, looking different, right, than the ones that are even in this one, because you have that looking to the side one there that I believe is not included in this. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. I'm assuming then, you know, that means that you'll kind of have to get both versions of the figure to be able to get all of the different pieces if you really want that, which is kind of what he did with Kid Buu with like the anime color version and the manga color version. So I definitely don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing, and obviously it's just better marketing for Tonson, and you're getting two cool figures, so I don't really mind it, to be honest with you. But yeah, that is just something that I definitely wanted to show off when it came to Trunks, right, because it's good to see some progress. Now obviously this figure head has been kind of floating around for a little while. There have been some companies working on some GT Goku stuff, which is pretty cool to see. But the thing that I really, really wanted to show you was that apparently a company is doing a custom Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks accessory pack, which is really, really interesting. Again, this is the type of thing where, like, it's so hard to cover everything for third party, because it's like my man Burst, who is obviously the account that we're looking at, and definitely somebody that you should be following if you want more third party news, right? He doesn't even know who this is made by. And he's really on top of it when it comes to this type of thing. Bro, that is hilarious if you're actually going to get the volleyball. But yeah, apparently in the comments this person mentioned here, right? The creator's name is Diamond K Studio. There's also 3D renders showing a base form Gotenks as well as Super Saiyan head. So that is pretty cool. Obviously, this is an accessory pack for the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. Hopefully, we get a better body for this figure, because the only thing I would be worried about with this is that would the hair actually be able to, like, stay on this body very well without a stand? Because obviously, you know, the body is, you know, a 2.0, like, very small body, and obviously having this hair I would think that, you know, might not be able to hold up. But with all that being said, that is basically everything for now when it comes to third party. And that is everything for our bi-weekly figure news. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely let me know what was your favorite figure out of everything that we took a look at this week. There is tons of awesome stuff to be excited for. Lots of stuff from official that they're cooking with. Lots of stuff from third party, right? Very, very excited for all of these upcoming releases. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and I will catch you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.